I'm afraid I can't say good morning, good afternoon or good evening because that would be disingenuous. It's not. An ironic point because when I started recording this video I said that I was in an unusually good mood. Because I was. Today we were searching around and actually we found a Nintendo DS that our family had and had lost. And Wii Sports that we had and had lost. And now we found them, as well as Wii Wheels for Mario Kart. All round very useful and productive activities, but not, it seems, today recording the video. I sat down to record this with a nice hyper voice from a can of Coke, and during my sugar rush I recorded this 40 minutes of recording. After I finished the recording of the audio, Quicktime gave me an error message and just screwed the file off into the void, into absolutely nowhere. Doesn't exist, the file can't be accessed anywhere, not even like how the WikiHow video where it corrupted saving wise, but we could still record the file itself. It's just gone. Completely. And I refuse to let technology ruin this entire project. I am not spending all that time to have it completely screwed into nowhere. So this video, I will be going over roughly what happened, narrating to you roughly what I said and what happened in our Cats of the Cosmos adventure that we had a go at. Speaking of having a go at, Quicktime is an abomination, like a lot of technology, but has far too often screwed its recordings and screwed up how things have gone for me, and I would like to, as far as I can from now on, boycott it. Problem is, I don't have anything to boycott it with. OBS is completely un-user-friendly and makes no sense. It's written entirely in computer and is unintelligible, so past watching hours of tutorials to be able to do one tiny thing on that, I can't use OBS, so any other recommendations would be appreciated for what I could use to record my microphone, for example. I could use iOS screen recording, but there was an issue that had in that it screwed the game audio, in that it lagged behind by the end for no apparent reason, and that couldn't be fixed. So maybe that is just like to start by publicly shaming Quicktime to the greatest degree that I can. A recording software should not be able to go wrong, because if it does, it's screwed such effort that you put into something that you wanted to broadcast to people, and something that you can no longer because it doesn't physically exist. Shame on Quicktime, shame on you, Apple. Let's move on. At the start of the video, I introduced it and explained how in a stream I'd been going over the last few levels in a treasure festival in which I had a little trouble with Muskandag, which I named Muscumbag after how difficult it was. And then we were away with making sure that our general slot was ready for Plumpit. I changed around the meat shielding from a normal eraser to a manic eraser and changed our macho leg cat to Neo Psycho Cat, which would probably do a better job. Then we were in Plumpit. Quite a lot of red enemies and we had a little bit of trouble with the boar in it, but luckily Can Cat, with its slow on reds and lots of damage that it can do to the reds, made sure that we could get rid of it and complete the level. After that was Durarara, to which I made a reference to Mana from the Muppets, which at least then I found quite funny, and maybe you might have too, but now that I've explained the joke, it's doubtless not very funny at all. Then, segueing on from the idea of talking about streams, I talked about how our charity stream had gone on the r/BattleCat server, because I said I'd do a charity stream where I got bullied and put the money towards some kind of charity. Thing was, when we went on the server, there wasn't actually much bullying. It was quite a nice time, but that's as maybe still giving the money to charity. So I looked on Creator Studio, where we found I made $1.94 off of that stream. Huge amount that is. I said that I'd put that into a charity whenever I could. Maybe recommendations on that as well. That's how much the streams make. Actually, probably twice as much as what the streams usually make, maybe even more. But I won't delve into what I earn, because I shouldn't really be telling you that. On that vein as well, about what I should and shouldn't be telling you, I had a little conversation, which I really would have liked to actually broadcast, but there you go, Quicktime, about how some people had taken my community post about how ads worked. This is publicly available information, not something YouTube had told me. They don't tell you anything useful, and essentially advertisers are benefiting by showing ads to people that eventually they don't have to pay for because of how they're watched or not interacted with. And I was just giving people information that they could choose how and what they did with that information. And I sort of started noticing people's points as people are saying like, I'll watch this ad for you now, yay, And I mean, I'm really glad you did, but just remember, this is entirely your choice. I was giving you information as to how they work, and now that you're armed with that information, you can do exactly what you want with it. Then, segueing on from that, I talked about a stream that did make quite a lot of money, and that was the recent boxing match that you probably all know about. Now, ever since that I found out that that was a pay-per-view boxing match, I thought that's completely ridiculous, that's a scam. Why don't they just monetize a stream? They can make far more than enough money to break even and make profits from just ticket sales, let alone a monetized stream of 800,000 people watching it. But no, they made it pay-per-view, which seemed ridiculous, and then they manufactured a draw just so that they could make more money out of it from a rematch. Seems a little bit ridiculous. I spoke briefly about these people have loads and loads of money, especially people like Logan Paul with their mansions and their cameras on which they film questionable things. And do we really want to be giving money to them? No, not really. At least that's my opinion. I'd rather not watch it or watch someone Twitch streaming it, which they very kindly did. But if they don't, that's fine. Wouldn't be watching it. But again, you choose what you do with your money. I just suggested that it might be better to think about supporting businesses that work really hard and struggle. Small YouTubers, things like that, small streamers, giving them a subscribe instead of paying to watch a boxing match you could easily find a recap of later, and lining the pockets of already very rich people. Then after that, we were on Thanks Bye, where there was a star pang that was beautifully frozen for most of the time by a seafarer that got lots of procs in. Not too much difficulty at all, despite there being a starred alien froggo. And it was Thanks Bye to Thanks Bye, as I said, after we got Superior Treasure and never had to go back to it again. Then was Murtos, which I, in another skit that I would have liked to be in the video, said looked like a fox head. Then questioningly said, is that pyrocynical? Which again would have been a lot more funny if I hadn't had to explain the circumstance in which I was making that joke. But there you go, Quicktime. We found that there was a Clee 1 within the level, which I'd missed for quite a while and enjoyed that it was there, and because we had no restrictions, I could bring out Mega Aphrodite, which dealt very well with the Project A, which it outranges, and it seemed to outrange the Clee 1 as well, although you can never be sure, but it didn't seem to die to it, so that was quite good. After that, I changed about my slot because the next restriction was special only. I put Batakuma in because I wanted to, and also Yalala because I barely used that at all. Although when I went into level, I found out very soon that Yalala was pretty awful, and the Holy Valkyrie did help a little bit with procs, but died quite quickly as it usually does. And we got a fair few lucky knockbacks from our Lil Macho leg, which was the MVP of that level and allowed us to just about get through it. After that, I switched things about, that being the meat shielding with a little mohawk instead of Batakuma, which in hindsight probably wasn't even a good idea because it's got a really weird recharge time, and also Masashi instead of Yalala. Then we were on Aguham, which is a level that JC Ace had talked to me about how we only have loincloth as a barrier breaker, and that's not very useful. At least I think it was Aguham. This is the first level of that type. Although we had no trouble breaking the barriers, and the trouble actually came from the combination of Starpang's Elite Shibalians and the Lassalar. In fact, the Elite Shibalians posed a lot more trouble than I thought any of them possibly ever could. We had one after stalling it that chomped away at our base, and past having a low health base and killing it, it almost killed us. So I had to start again, and after that, went to the base, defeated the Ultra Barbar and eventually the Starpangs, but then the Lassalar crept up on us somehow and started destroying our base, and we couldn't get the Lil Macho legs to do enough proc knockbacks to kill it, and that was that. I almost lost. I stopped the recording, finished off, and saved off the video file. After I'd finished all that, I tried Aguham again with a bit more stalling, and whilst being able to focus with no commentary on the level, I managed to beat it. And so there you go, that's essentially what happened in the video that could have been a lot better if it had actually been the video that I recorded. But unfortunately, technology got in the way of that. So if you have any recommendations for what I could use instead, audio recording wise, I'm thinking of using QuickTime and something else. So if QuickTime does its stupid failure thing, it doesn't matter as much because we've got something already there. OBS tends to, for some reason, glitch out whenever you're recording a screen. If you ever saw a stream of Overwatch or even the Discord server itself, I don't understand why, as OBS is impossible to understand its interface. But please recommend what I could be using instead, because QuickTime is deeply disappointing, and I'd like that to be on record that it is deeply disappointing. screw you QuickTime. I hope this has highlighted the amount of effort that goes into these things. I'm sure you already know a lot of effort goes into videos, but the fact that you can put a lot of effort into recording something and then for it to be completely blattered and destroyed is just really disheartening and a horrible feeling, really. But I hope that you can derive some enjoyment from this footage and re-recorded audio that we're going to put together and turn into a video. It's about calling out technology for what it really is and hoping to find a better solution. If I could make these videos using pen and paper, believe me, I would. I shan't ask you to subscribe and we'll do whatever you like with that subscribe button. Stare at it, click at it, or avoid it at all costs. In any case, whatever you choose to do, I very much hope you enjoyed.